you do some?
Sure, yeah.
I just have to just okay,
Oh, hi there. That's good. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's okay.
I'm giving you your handout. Just to get the knowledge.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I can just take this chair out.
I'm Heather.
Hi, I'm Sherry Lynn.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Linda.
Heather.
And Sherry.
Hi, I'm Sherry Lynn.
Nice to meet you.
Shayna.
Shayna, yes.
You know what? I started doing all my professional reviews. So I was like, hold on. Where are we supposed to be at 9:30?
Well, good morning, everyone, and thanks for being here today. This is the informal part of it. We're going to start off with introductions to see who's here today and get to know you better. Give us your name, your organization, and where you work. What is it that you do? And something interesting about yourself. Maybe something we wouldn't have known about you. So my name is Helen Dyrkacz. My company's called Leadership and Beyond. And what I do is I help people become more productive in terms of their time, in terms of communication and team building. And I'm also an author of the book, The Trainer's Inside Edge. Something interesting about me is that I actually come from a very small farm near Dauphin, Manitoba, and we kind of led a sheltered life. My parents never ate out for dinner, so it wasn't until my very late teens that I had my first hamburger or my first pizza. In terms of something else interesting, another example, is I actually enjoy exercising. I work out 6 or 7 days a week, and 2 years ago, I actually ran across the finish line in the Manitoba Marathon. Yes, I ran across, I didn't crawl or have anybody push me across in a wheelbarrow, so that's just a little bit about myself. So just go around the room now and have you introduce yourself. Let's start off here with Cindy.
Yes,
Cindy.
Cindy Ruth. I work at Women's Enterprise Center and have been with them for a number of years. I am manager of finance and operations, and so today I'm looking forward to the piece that is about human resources. And I guess one of the interesting things is, although I'm a numbers person, I have, I do try and have a creative side. So I was in a dinner theater for about 28 years.
Here in Winnipeg?
Yeah, just out in Headington.
Excellent.
Right, so that was sort of my alter ego or something.
I would never know that, I'm guessing, looking at you. So we're going to show her some appreciation, because for some people, speaking in public is a little challenge. And I call this power clap. It goes like this. 1, 2, 3, clap. Good, you got it. Okay, let's go to Richard.
That's my mom.
Oh.
So
moral support.
2 weeks ago, I successfully defended my PhD in mechanical engineering at the University of Manitoba, and I performed some interesting research on preventing corrosion of artificial hip joints. And something interesting, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, I hope to be running my 22nd full marathon.
Wow.
Let's second. 1, 2, 3. Next.
I'm Linda Hazelwood, and I'm currently Executive Director of the Manitoba Magazine Publishers Association. I'm here because Dominic invited me. He's speaking at our conference at the end of the month. I'm here because I used to publish my own magazine, and so I was my own boss, making all my own decisions. Now I have a board of 7, plus multiple volunteers, and I want to be able to corral them all into focused thinking.
Yes.
And about myself, I'm a horse rider, and I ride what for me is long distance, 10, 15 miles at a time.
Oh, wow.
And the most interesting thing I've done with a horse is ride a Clydesdale up a mountain.
Wow, that's amazing. Let's thank her. 1, 2, 3. Shayna.
Hi, my name is Shayna Robinson. I'm the founder of Electric Lady Coaching Services. So I have taken my coach training here in Winnipeg. I'm a lifestyle business coach, so I really look at joining the personal side of who you are with the business side of who you are, because your business is you, and there's too much of a gap there most times. Something interesting about me is that I have this completely wild Caribbean side to me. I've never been back home to Trinidad, even though I call it home. but since I was very little, had definitely had it in the blood. So I secretly wish that I was put into dancing when I was little, but I never was. So I make use of it now, I guess.
Okay, let's thank her. Next.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sherry Lindfield. I am trying to get into motivational speaking, focusing on First Nation communities.
Yes.
Something interesting about me is I am soon going to be entering triathlon season, so I do triathlon. Try to do
Talk to
6
me.
Yeah, 6 of them and finish off in band. So that's
Oh, wow.
interesting for me. And just looking forward to getting as much information as I can to help me out with my motivational speaking.
That's fantastic. Let's thank her. Heather.
My name is Heather Stevens, and I work here at the Women's Enterprise Center. I'm the loans manager here, and I'm also in Helen's Toastmasters, her headliners Toastmasters. I did actually try to run a marathon before in my past. I joined the running room and learned to run program, and I did the 5K run, and I've never ran again.
You started, you know.
But Cindy and I, we have a health and wellness committee here at the Women's Enterprise Center, so we try and keep each other motivated and do fun activities to bring some fun and activity into our lives.
Let's thank her. Olga.
Hi, my name is Olga Maria. I am a senior IT consultant for MNP. I'm doing technology projects on different kinds, business analysis, development, large enterprise systems. So I have more than 20 years of experience in the technology, and I have a degree in computer science. However, I recently discovered this passion for education in myself. I used to be a learner. Now I'm going a lot aside because as a consultant I work a lot with people and mentor people and teach, and I just like it in general. And recently lots of my friends are asking me to help them with technology, a little gadgets, and I happily doing that. And I graduated from certificate program University of Manitoba last year, continuing education. So I kind of have this entrepreneurial feel, and I think about something.
Well, you come to the right location.
Yes.
And that's why I'm very interested in this type of networking, and I met Helen on and Heather on the Toastmasters group, which I attended with my French. Oh, I forgot Michelle's name, sorry. Michelle, I keep her.
Let's thank her. Awesome. Something else very interesting about Olga. Tell them where you came from.
Oh yeah, I was born and raised in Ukraine, Kiev, Ukraine, and I came to Canada almost 20 years ago.
And it was because of Chernobyl, right?
Yeah, and this is where my beautiful accent is.
Okay, so we've gotten to know each other a little bit, so now we'll actually go into the workshop. You have some handouts in front of you. You can follow along if you want to. It's totally up to you. Some of the exercises in there. You can take down notes, or you can just sit back, relax, and enjoy. Okay, so this is going to be the more formal part. So whenever you want to hit the button.
Oh, it's on.
Put me in, coach. I want to play today. Pick me. I want to be center field. Those are the words from John Fogerty in 1986. Well, today we're going to be looking at how to become a more effective coach. Welcome to Coaching Champions in Human Performance. My name is Helen Dyrkacz, and I'll be your facilitator for this morning. Just a little bit about myself and how I ended up here today. My background is within government finance. I worked in accounting, finance for about 25 years and managed up to 45 accountants. Lots of number crunching happened during that period of time. But after a while, maybe it was midlife crisis, I'm not sure what happened, but I decided to have a major change in my career. And rather than working with numbers, I went into the world of adult education. So what I do now is I help people and coach people to become more perfected with their time, and I also teach at one of the universities here. So today the focus is all about coaching and how we can use coaching to increase performance. We'll be looking at the coaching conversation as well as 3 different models to help us get there. So first of all, we need to begin with the principles of coaching. What is coaching? You might want to just jot down a few words or phrases as to what you believe coaching is all about. So what's coaching? some things you've indicated? What's coaching?
Mentoring.
Pardon me?
Mentoring.
Mentoring, okay, tell me more.
Encouragement.
Encouragement, yes.
Accountability.
Accountability, tell me more about that, Sheena.
Accountability is pretty much, I have to put it this way, if a client says that they want to do something, you can offer to be their accountability partner or a reference of support for them in that regard. So,
Okay,
not that it's all on you, but coaching is very much a partnership.
absolutely,
Yeah.
it sure is. Is there anything that you have we haven't mentioned yet?
I put a sharing,
A sharing, how do you mean by sharing?
so that you aren't necessarily the teacher of a person, but certainly you can share thoughts and be a sounding board.
Okay, so share thoughts would be a sounding board to another person? Okay,
It's all about thought-provoking questions. It's not about you
Absolutely.
being the source, your client's the source.
absolutely. Whenever I'm looking for a definition, I go to my friend Webster's dictionary. And Webster's got 3 different areas of ways of looking at it. And the first one is to teach an athletic team. So think of Paul Maurice, the coach of the Winnipeg Jets. I'd say that he's come a long way over the last year with the Jets. The second way of looking at it is to do with helping someone prepare for an exam. So let us say that you're writing a professional exam. Do you remember the time that you were sitting down and trying to put down some answers? Well, was there somebody there who helped you prepare for the exam? Someone to help you organize your thoughts and collect your ideas and get ready to actually write that exam? That individual would be a coach. Another part of the coaching is to teach or train. Who's got a driver's license here? I thought everyone would. Now, do you remember the first time you got behind the wheel of the vehicle? I remember my first time. It was my brother Peter. We were in this open meadow. No ditches, no trees, no cars for miles and miles and miles. Well, my father believed that in order to drive a vehicle, you had to learn how to start off with a standard. So I was behind the wheel of our farm family truck. I get behind the wheel, and my brother taught me how to work the clutch. He taught me how to very easily give it some gas and then ease off the gas at the right moment. So we went into first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, and reverse. Eventually, I took my driver's license, and I passed, but my brother was my coach. So you can see that coaches come in different ways to help us get to where we want to go. Now we'll look at coaching and take it into the place of work. I had many fantastic coaches in my days, and one of my best coaches was Andre. Andre's head office was in Montreal, and I was here in Winnipeg. And he would coach me on a regular basis. Sometimes it would be on telephone, other times it would be face-to-face meetings. And our coaching sessions were always very informal. We'd sit down and talk about a job. And I remember when I first started, he would do an analysis of my skills, knowledge, and abilities. Where was I right now? And where did I need to go? What knowledge skills did I need to develop? What are some areas that I need to learn more about to be able to be more effective on the job? And he would fill that gap by providing me with resources, by training, by development, bouncing ideas off of each other. But he was one of the best coaches I ever had. Now sometimes times got difficult. So Andre would ask me questions, asking me about how I might be able to perform my job. Other times he would just provide me with resources to help me move forward. And at that time I was managing 45 accountants, so let me tell you, I could use all the help I could get. But he was there to point me into the right direction. Andre was one of my most fantastic coaches I ever had. But it was all about increasing my performance. How could I do the job better to be able to bring up productivity in the unit? Because it was all about productivity and looking for better ways and means to get there. Now this unit was one of the most productive units all across Canada. And I would say, for the most part, it was because of the coaching of Andre. So let's talk about some of the benefits of coaching. Why would you want to coach? And with this, I'll invite you to work with a partner or a group of 3 and brainstorm over the next 3 minutes. What are some benefits of coaching? Let us begin.
Yes.
We'll just try to choose one.
Troubleshoot. Develop strategies.
Always.
Strategic planning.
So setting objectives, even if they're small objectives.
That's going to be appropriate questions.
And then when it's okay to break through the boundaries.
Uniting a team.
Because they're learning more
If you're
about their attitudes and sharing experiences and coaching techniques. Mistakes too.
Most times you share things with your coach, but you don't share with everybody else, so it's like actually done honestly. And you can be really authentic and genuine.
Okay, so let's have a look at some of the benefits of coaching. What do you have? What's one?
We listed a number, do you want just our?
Just give one.
favorite? Well, I think it was helping with the strategic planning and helping you to troubleshoot things.
Okay, so strategic planning, and if you're having some issues with achieving those plans, you troubleshoot. Great, thanks. How about here?
We talked about setting objectives, which is the same kind of thing.
Yes.
But also setting boundaries sometimes and knowing when to break through the boundaries.
Yes, yes. So when a new employee first comes on board, you sit down with the coach and employee sit down and they talk about the job. What are the objectives, what it is that they need to perform, and the coach helps them meet those objectives. It could be through resources, through troubleshooting, it might be through training, something formal, something informal. Great, thank you. How about over here?
We actually covered these few issues as well, but
Okay.
I just came to my mind quickly. The feedback.
Giving you feedback.
The
Yes.
evaluation process, because it doesn't matter how much work you do, you still need to understand if you're on the right path.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's what coaching is all about. We'll be looking at a few different models on how to do that feedback. Do we have some other benefits? Let's go around it again. Something to add?
I guess for clarifying,
To clarify,
I guess if you have like certain problems and try to identify the actual problems and maybe like, I guess clarify questions that you may have.
okay, so to clarify issues that are coming up. Good. Anything else that we can add?
I said honesty.
Yes.
Most times with your coach, that's the most honest place you're gonna be. Your coach is gonna ask you questions that nobody else will ask you.
Yes.
And so it's a place where you can be really genuine and authentic and
That's
real.
And there are times where you need that outside perspective.
Yeah.
The coach can take you to places you've never been
You
before.
got it.
Thank you, thank you. How about here? Anything to add?
I think coaching can help find a very creative solution, and so something that you wouldn't have thought of on your
Yes.
own, and then that might help you achieve your goals faster.
Absolutely. When Andre was coaching me, he often talked about his experiences in life. And I enjoyed listening to his stories, but the ones that stood out were not were his successes, but is where he made mistakes and failures, and what did he do to recover and carry on from there. So very valuable lessons from the experience of coaches. These are a few things that we have. One is increased job satisfaction. And I can recall when I was going into work, I was really looking forward to doing that job. And the work was challenging, it was difficult, but when I went home at night, I felt really good about what we accomplished during that day. It also helps increase the motivation because you have the inspiration from our coaches and they're there to help us up during those difficult time periods. We have productivity. Employees learn how to do better. Employees get smarter at the things that they're working on, and it also helps them cut through red tape. So as a result, the morale is going to go up, productivity is going to go up, and if there's any organizational waste, well, we look for ways to correct the waste very, very quickly. So there's a tremendous amount of benefit in providing coaching to our employees. So let's talk about the coach. I want you to think of someone who's been a coach in your life. It might be a parent, teacher, coworker, neighbor, friend, relative, music teacher, dance instructor. Who is that person and how have they impacted their lives? I remember when our son was in grade 9. He had a teacher called Mr. C. Medeiros. The teachers called him Mr. S for short. Do you know Sheena?
Yeah,
You
I
do?
have him as well.
Okay. Now, Mr. S was a towering man, well over 6'2", 260 pounds, graying hair, and he wore his reading glasses on the end of his nose. Now, Mr. S had a passion for school. He loved his profession, but he expected the highest standards from his students. And one day, our son came home from school. He had this long face, and I said to him, "What's happened? Did you not have a good day?" "Oh no, didn't have a very good day today. Mr. S gave me this mark and I'm not very happy with it." I said, "Well, why is that?" He said, "Well, I handed in this assignment. It looked a little bit like this." And I went, whoa. He had to put all his term papers inside a binder, but he shoved them in any old way at all. Some of them were crinkled, others were dog-eared, some of the sheets looked like he'd wrapped his lunch in it. And I looked at him and said, "You're lucky you got a C." But he desperately wanted to get an A on that class. He wanted the approval of his teacher. So he had one last chance, one last assignment to do. The assignment was to do poetry on the Roman Empire. Well, what does he know about the Roman Empire and poetry? You got to be kidding. Well, that evening he sat down and drew up his plan and sketched out what that poem was going to look like. He was going to put it on a Roman scribe, a little bit like this. He devised an action plan, and that action plan involved a fabric store, a hobby store, the university bookstore. So we scoured the city to find the right supplies for this particular project. Even picked up calligraphy for fun. So that evening he sat down, and the whole weekend he worked, hour after hour. There's cutting and pasting and gluing, and finally was done on Sunday evening, 10 o'clock. It looked a little bit like this. He'd come a long way. We took that scribe, he rolled it up and put it inside his backpack and took it to Mr. S. Well, Mr. S was impressed. He took that scribe and hung it up. It stayed in his classroom for 3 weeks after that. And our son got his first A++. He was really pleased with it. But what's the moral of the story? Go the extra mile. When you go the extra mile, you'll be pleasantly surprised at what you can accomplish. How about you? Do you go the extra mile? And Richard recently got his PhD in mechanical engineering. I would like to say that Mr. S had been a fantastic coach in his life. And how about you? Is there somebody who's coached you, who's pushed you just a little harder to take the extra step and put some color in your life? Write that person's name down. Who comes to mind for you? during the break, I'm going to invite you to share that name with somebody else and the reason why that person has inspired you so much. So let's look now at some of the qualities of effective coaches, as well as ineffective coaches. So in your handout, there's 2 columns. Write down some qualities of effective coaches and also some qualities of ineffective coaches. You may also want to compare your results with others sitting next to you, and then we'll see what you've come up with. I'll check back in 2 minutes. Okay, I'll invite you to share what you've written down with someone sitting next to you.
Great listening skills, and only wants to listen to what they want to hear.
Yes. One coach, she made me look at myself differently.
Uncovers my vision and self-sabotage. They affect the side that it has their own process and versus what the client wants it to do. So they have their own motives.
So that was good.
Is my questions to us to get you to open up.
That's really a meaning to the client. There's not a series of questions that you can ask.
I was like my coach's friend, and she was actually doing a master's in coaching. And so I was part of her project. Yeah, so we had a number of sessions.
Yes.
Sometimes it doesn't help to review like over and over and over.
If it provides constructive feedback, sometimes you know when I'm talking.
Okay, so let's have a look at some of the qualities we have for both ineffective and effective coaches. Please don't say they're the opposite of each other. So let's divide the room down in half. About here. So on this side is going to be ineffective coaches, and this side are effective. So what is one quality of an ineffective coach? We'll start with Olga. Arrogant. Ooh, okay, let's turn it around. What's one for effective coach?
I'm a good listener.
A good listener, absolutely, very important. How about here, Heather? Ineffective.
Someone who's scolding you instead of encouraging you.
Scolding doesn't work so well. Okay, Richard, effective?
Supportive.
Supportive, yes. Ineffective.
Only wants to hear what they want to hear.
Only hear what they want to hear. It's all about them, right? Okay, and how about effective?
Someone who asks the deep questions to really make you search into yourself.
Yes, yes, probe a little deeper, find yourself, see exactly what's going on, for sure. Can we do another round? Do we have more? Okay, so let's continue on. What's another one?
with a lot of good qualities.
Okay, do you have any other ineffective qualities?
I think picking favorites.
Picking favorites?
Yeah.
Okay,
Instead of being genuine to everybody and connecting with everybody in your team.
okay, so that's being very unfair to all the staff.
Right.
Okay, let's turn this around. What's another effective one?
I thought it was sort of important that they have a role model type,
Yes.
for you.
Absolutely, absolutely, okay. Is there anything else we haven't mentioned that you may have talked about? Yes,
They're ineffective, adds their own vision to the process versus what their client wants or needs.
yes, so it's not about them, it's about the client, or about the person that you're coaching. Great, thank you so much.
I didn't write it down, but a coach who thinks they're a coach, but doesn't really give you any support or
Yes.
mentorship
Yeah.
for long periods of time.
Mhm.
And then at the end of it, they kind of jump on you. Yeah,
Why weren't you performing the way we expected you
yeah,
to?
because you didn't.
Because you
tell
didn't tell us. Yeah, so we go into he said, she said,
Yeah.
not a good place to be.
Yeah.
Okay, when we have a new employee that comes on board, sometimes it might be like this coloring book. They have a general idea of what they need to know. But as a coach, what we need to do is to help them fill in the color, fill in the blanks, provide them with goals and objectives, and help them with putting more color in their life. So this was a study that was done out of Management Basics book by Michelle Gervais. And this study was done several times over. It started off in the 1940s and repeated again in 60s, 70s, 80s, and into the 2000s. But what was really interesting about this study was that you had the results every time, no matter when they did it, how the population changed, what was happening in the world, the results were always the same. And they asked the question to two groups, managers and employees. What do you want from your jobs? So if you look at this column here for managers, this is what managers thought employees want from their job. And this is what the employees say. What do you notice? They are very different, aren't they? What's the number one thing managers think the employees want from their job? Number one is good wages. So is it about the money? Well, I'm not saying it's not about the money because everyone needs food, clothing, and shelter to make the basic needs of life. But think of a time you volunteered. I volunteer every so often for running groups. And I'll get up at 4:30 in the morning, I'll look outside and it's dark and cold, sometimes it's raining. But you know what? I'm really looking forward to it. I don't get paid for a cent to volunteer my time. And when I go to the finish line and watch the runners go by and I'm cheering them on, it's all worth my time and effort. But we're volunteering, we don't get paid. So it's not necessarily about the money that comes into play. Now if you look at what employees want, what is the number one thing employees want? Full appreciation for the work done. Employees want to be told how they're doing on their job. They want to be told, you're doing a really good job, you're on track. Thank you so much, Sherry, for getting that report done on time. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the work you've done on social media, Linda. It really keeps our organization up to date, and we tell our clients what we're working on. Employees just generally want to know how they're doing, and they want to get some feedback. I was talking to one employee the other day, and he says, I was walking out the door, and my boss said to me, I appreciate all the work you've done today. He said, wow, I don't think everyone's told me that before. And he's been working for over 40 years. And some people say, well, I don't have a recognition and rewards budget. I can't possibly make it happen. But you don't need money to do it. All it takes is 2 words, thank you, and that's it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming to this meeting today. We appreciate your commitment towards the organization. What's the second thing employees want? Feeling in on things. Employees want to know what's going on in their organizations. And the thing is, if they don't know what's going on, they're going to make it up. That rumor mill is very rapid out there. So if we know about some changes that are coming out, Tell them about it. Tell them as much as we possibly can. I mean, there's limitations too, but tell them what you can share at that time. Are there some new hiring coming on board? Is there some policy change that is coming about? Do they need to know about the office retreat that's going to be happening next month? So make them feel that they're in the know. And if you do that, you'll get more production from them. Employees will feel more comfortable in their positions because they feel included as to what's happening in the organization. And number 3 is help on personal problems. I was working with this lady who had a 3-year-old child. And this poor child was diagnosed with a brain tumor. Devastating news to the employee, equally devastating news to the rest of the organization, because we were a close-knit group. And that employee needed time off to take her little girl to hospitals for tests, for treatment. And I have a happy ending. The child is doing just fine right now. But the thing is, during this difficult period of time, she wasn't at work. She couldn't be there. She couldn't fulfill both responsibilities, work and home. So the rest of the team jumped in there to help her out. We did her work. We taught her classes. We answered her clients' phone calls. And when all of this health issue passed, she came back to work. And I can tell you, she is one of the best employees we have on staff. She's there every day, she's loyal, she's determined, she's committed, and she has been offered jobs all across Canada, but has chosen to work in this organization. Because when we support employees during those difficult times, they will pay us back time and time again. So these are the 3 things that employees want from their jobs. First of all, they want to be appreciated, so tell them thank you. Tell them what's going on in the organization, and when times get tough, provide them with support. And if you do that, your employees will be happy campers and very productive. They will want to be there. When I worked for Andre, we spent quite a bit of time together talking about the job. And this is when we were managing the 45 accountants. And he would often begin the conversation by saying, "This is an open discussion. I want you to share with me what exactly is going on right now. What are some of the issues? What are some of the concerns that are happening?" So I told him, we had this issue, we have this challenge, and these are the types of things that we have done to try to rectify it. And then we would bounce ideas back and forth. By the end of the conversation, I would have an action plan. I knew exactly what it was that I was supposed to accomplish. Our conversations were very informal. And after the end of the conversation, I had my marching orders, I had my action plan, and I knew exactly what I needed to do. So I'd go out and I could feel the level of synergy there, because I really enjoy this type of working environment. So I'd go out there and work with my accountants, and a week later the phone call would come in, and once again Andre would have a conversation about how is the job going. The coaching there was insurmountable in terms of helping our organization move forward. I always felt very comfortable. So if I were to ask you to draw a picture of what a coaching conversation looks like, what would you have in that picture? Just take a pen and paper and draw. What would be in that coaching conversation? You can use stick people, don't worry about the quality of the artwork. It's the idea behind it. So Linda, if you wouldn't mind sharing, what do you have in your picture?
It's kind of a zigzag, but each, like zigging and zagging between the coach and the person being supported, and each zig and zag, there's greater growth.
Okay.
So it's a growing all the while as you're zigging and zagging with ideas and support.
Yes.
So you both end up greater at the end of the session.
So one of the responsibilities of a coach is to help their employees grow, to help them grow and develop, to move forward. Shayna, what do you have in your picture?
I have a ball of confusion in that person's
Oh,
brain.
okay.
And then I have their conversation and everything systemized and
Okay.
clearer.
Okay, so a coach is helping them get organized.
Yes.
Okay, to do some analysis there.
And just weed through what, what's valuable, what they need,
Mhm.
what they don't need to do, what's
Yes.
irrelevant. Just get through the clutter.
Okay, good. Anyone else?
I love candy and pizza.
Candy and pizza. Do tell. Tell us about
Candy
it.
and pizza, sunny day, and a year, and smile, and a computer. So this stuff, I guess, represents a good feeling.
Okay.
A positive emotion for
Mhm.
me.
Okay.
The year is probably somebody that is listening,
Yes.
because I really like people who listen, that I'm trying to say. I mean, somebody that coaches me to listen carefully. I guess a smile, silent passion, and care. And a computer, have a silent resource.
Excellent.
Very nice.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Yes.
Now, in my picture, years ago, I would have a coach and a coachee. And there would be an arrow that was just pointing from the coach to the coachee. And it was more of a command and control type of atmosphere back then. The coach told us what to do, we followed through, and we never really questioned what we were supposed to do. And I'm pleased to say that times have changed a lot now. And it's more of an interactive type of exercise, where the coach provides us with overall direction and support, but there's a lot of conversation that happens during the way, so things have changed for the best. Now, there's some ideal conditions for a coaching situation to happen. And this happens with teams, or it happens in office situations. Some of the very similar types of circumstances happen here. Do you know the number one reason why employees fail? The number one reason why they don't do so well?
They're not clear on their goals.
They're not clear on their goals. They're not clear on what's expected of them. When an employee comes into work in the morning, they're bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to go. But no one comes into work saying, well, I'm going to mess up today. I'm going to make a big mistake today. No one in their right mind would do something like that. So we need to be very clear as to what the job's responsibilities are, what needs to be done and when it needs to be done by. The employees are going to figure out how to do the how. So then once the expectations are clear, they need to have the competencies to be able to do the job. They need to have the skills, the knowledge, the talent to do it. Let's say with communication skills, can they communicate effectively in writing? Can they communicate effectively orally? And if not, then the coach needs to jump in there and provide them with some assistance. So those are some of the real key ingredients. The coach should have some influence over the person's responsibilities. So what that means, it could be their manager or maybe their coworker, but they should be able to have some way of changing things if the setup isn't quite right. Now, an employee also needs to have some influence over their job. And I know that in some areas like manufacturing, you really can't do that. But maybe they can have some influence over the hours that they keep, or even their lunch breaks, because employees need to have some control over their work environment and the type of conditions that they're in. We talked about appreciation, and then we have relationship building. Every time we have a conversation with the coach, we can either increase and strengthen that relationship, or the relationship could erode. An effective coach will build that relationship. Every time they have a conversation, the relationship is going to get stronger. And last but not least, there has to be a commitment. And we talked about commitment a while ago. But it has to be commitment from both the manager's side or the coach's side and the employee. Both people need to be committed to the task or committed to whatever is going on. When you put all these ingredients together, you will have the ideal coaching situation. Trust. Do you think trust is important in coaching? And why would you say trust is so important?
You have to have it because you're, as I said earlier, you're telling somebody that your innermost thoughts, you're sharing, your weaknesses most times with somebody
Yes.
else. So if you don't have that kind of trust, you can't be vulnerable. And coaching is all about vulnerability.
It sure is. It sure is, yeah. So I'd like you to think of some people that you trust. What are some qualities of people, leaders that you trust? What are the behaviors? What does it look like? What's one? Pardon me?
Honesty.
Honesty. Yeah, they're honest with us. What's another one? Dependable. They're there when we expect them to be. What else?
Tough love.
Tough love. How do you mean?
Like, they're honest with you. Like, they're just real with you. They're not gonna sugarcoat things and tell you what you want to hear and coddle you. They're gonna help you face reality
Yeah.
in that situation.
Yeah, they tell you the way it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
I'm looking for a word on follow through on promises.
Yes. Yes. They make you accountable for what you said you're going to do.
And also on the other side, the coach, if they
Yes.
have accountabilities to
Yeah.
help you go forward by changing some of the circumstances, that they will actually do that.
Okay. So if it's within the coach's control, they need to follow through
Yeah.
with whatever they say they're going to do. Absolutely. So as a coach and I'm working with you and I see that you need some resources in some area, it's up to me to get back with you within a week and say, okay, this is what's available right now. Okay. So let's have a look at what trust looks like. I'm going to invite everyone to stand up and find yourself a partner. One person will be observing what's going on. So you have a partner. Stand face to face and put your arms up. Put your arms up like this, so your palms are facing the other person. And what I want you to do is push the other person back for 15 seconds, and whoever steps back is the loser. So let's begin.
Thank you,
Okay, please stop. So is there a way of doing this so that there are no losers here? We want all winners. What can you do? Okay, so tell me, how can you do this so that both sides of this trusting relationship become winners? You put your hands down and then what? And talk. Okay, so going back to the exercise, you put your hands up and the person who can push the other one back would be the winner and the other one is the loser. So this time, let's try it so that both of you are winners. Let's begin. 15 seconds. Okay, good. Okay, that's great. That's great. So what did you observe was happening, Shayna?
I observed very different things. So over here, it was just hands off, right? We just don't want to deal with that. So
Yeah,
let's
okay.
remove the obstacle.
Okay.
Over here, it was let's inch in and find a balance.
Okay.
I can see over there, but but it was interesting that everybody had a very different approach
Yes.
based on who was partnered together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. You may be seated. And the same thing with coaching. It's a balance in the relationship. Okay, some people, you find a way to work through situations, so it's a win-win type of environment. The two of you were having fun. You were doing that dance already. Way to go. Okay, but that all involves trust. You need to have trust with the partnership to make things go. So how do you get trust? What do you need to do? How do you get trust?
Spend time together.
Spend time? Why is that so important?
Because you need to know the other person and not just on a formal basis, just an informal, like we stood
Yes.
here and we laughed.
Mm-hmm.
And we've shared little bits of information about each other, not big things, but we're just starting to build an emotional relationship between the person.
Okay, so we could say when we're coaching someone, the emotional relationship needs to be there, as well as a good working relationship, by simply getting to know them better.
Yeah.
Okay, anything here?
Trust is built over time.
How so?
It takes time, it has time to prove, to show the actions, to show the person or coach's intentions. So it takes time.
It does, yes.
In a trust, requires time.
Okay, it's by,
Building trust.
yeah, it's by a matter of following through with what you're going to do, time and time again. Okay, it doesn't take long for trust to erode. Okay, so we need to work on building it up again. But it can take time and just following through and say, do what you said you're going to do. Trust is also based on the competence of the other person, trust in their abilities. So if I give Cindy a new project there, I'm trusting that Cindy will follow through with that project, and if she's got some questions, she's going to come back to me with it. Have a look at this. Do any of those comments resonate with you? Any comments resonate?
Yeah, I'm wondering, how do you deal with someone that you work with but you don't trust them?
Ah, because something has happened?
Because they're not doing any of those things, they're so self-important that they don't want to reach out and take that trust role.
That's where the coaching part really comes in. We need to understand why they do what they do.
Yeah.
Go back to the expectations, what are the objectives of the job, and then work on it from there. Yes,
Can I just speak to that?
sure.
There's two things. Normally when you're having a conflict like that, it's a value conflict. So something that you're valuing in a relationship, you're not seeing that they value it as well.
Yeah.
So even if, in this, we're talking about, being the coach versus the employee, but employees can also coach up if it's somebody who's above you. You can use a lot of those same things and demonstrate that in your interactions too. Because something you just said was, they're not willing to take that responsibility. It's a two-way street, so it's also about, can I take that responsibility for my actions and inject that into our interaction? Sorry.
Okay, no,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much, thank you, I
Yeah,
appreciate
that's
that.
good. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. So we're going to talk about 3 different models here. And the first model is to provide positive feedback to people. When would you provide positive feedback to individuals?
Almost all the time.
Almost all the time? What type of situations?
I think even in a negative situation, you can start with something positive.
Something good?
And then, talk about the issue and then agree, conclude it in a positive way,
Sure.
positive feedback, here's what we're gonna do, here's our action plan,
Okay.
so.
Okay. So we can give positive feedback to people when they're training, when they're learning something new. We want to tell them what they've accomplished. If they are doing something in terms of project timelines, and every time they meet a major timeline, we might provide them with some feedback. Now, not all employees are going to be like Michael Phelps here, who's won the 8 gold medals. It might be a case of a person who comes in every day, they're doing a really good job, they're doing the very best they can, but they're more mediocre type of experience, mediocre type of level of work. So we still want to give them some positive feedback and thank them for coming in and thank them for doing the hard, difficult work day after day. So in order for this to happen, there's 2 different parts called it's a positive feedback model, and the first part is the behavioral statement. So what exactly has the person done that you want to provide them some feedback? So here we're talking about basically what they've done. Describe it. It's concrete, it is very precise as to what they have done. So for example, thank you, Linda, for completing that report on time. It was done according to specifications, and it makes our organization and unit look efficient and effective. So there's 2 parts. The first part is the behavioral statement, and the second part is this so what. What is the impact? What is the benefit of whatever they have done? So Carrie Lynn, if you have worked on something, let's say you've put together the office retreat. And thank you very much, Carrie Lynn, for working on the office retreat. It was very well executed. The employees were very happy with what was happening, and the team is strengthened because of it. Okay? So we're just giving them some feedback in a positive way, but we want to talk specifically as to what they've done, as opposed to saying, good job. I mean, that's better than no type of compliment, but we want to tell them specifically why, and what have they done, and what's the impact on the organization. The second model we're going to look at is called on-the-spot coaching. And on-the-spot coaching can happen quite frequently. Perhaps Heather is walking down the hallway and someone taps you on the shoulder and says, Heather, do you have a few minutes? I have a question. Or Richard would be busy working on his computer and one of his coworkers will come to him and say, Richard, I've got an issue with this. Could you help me out? And here is an opportunity for some on-the-spot coaching. On-the-spot coaching, the idea behind it is to ask questions. Like coaches would ask questions to help the employee analyze what's going on, but even more importantly, you determine what are the issues, what's the problem, and help them come up with a solution. And some of the questions that you could ask are, well, what were you expecting to happen? If you could do it all over again, how would you do it? Do you have any obstacles with whatever you need to get done? Do you have some obstacles with other individuals? Do you have some skills that you need? And the next part is, what do you plan to do now? So after we have the conversation with them, we ask them questions. Together we help analyze what is the problem. We come up with some solutions. And before they walk away, they're going to come up with an action plan. And we finish up by saying, how can I support you? What can I do to help you execute this plan? And last but not least, when should we get together to follow up? Because that one's really important. Every so often we forget. We can have the best of plans and people are out doing it, but if we don't follow up with them, it's very easy for them to get off the hook, so to speak. So, when are we going to meet to talk about this plan? And then take it from there. So this is called on-the-spot coaching. We ask them a series of questions, they come up with an action plan, and then we check back with them to see if things have gone. Now, sometimes in coaching, we may have a confronting role. There will be issues every so often that we need to address. And it's a matter of sitting down and having a conversation with the employee about that task, or maybe about the job. It could be a personality clash, it could be a behavioral. There's a very wide range. Perhaps two employees simply aren't getting along together. Or maybe there's a case of body odor that needs to be addressed. I mean, it does happen. If you were to think of this manager's role, what are the top 3 areas where a manager might have difficulties with employees? 3 areas.
Religion, I know that's come up in places that I've been at. You know, dealing with people's different religions and different practices.
Okay.
And people not necessarily liking those. It's a touchy topic.
Okay, it's sensitive, but it has to be dealt with. What's another one?
Change, I think change in
Change.
organization and not everybody sort of being on board or some people like status quo.
Oh, sure, yeah, because nobody really likes change, so babies, that's what they always say, yeah. What happens is that sometimes there is a personality conflict. Other times it's a behavior, and employees simply aren't getting the work done. They're not putting in the hours they're supposed to put in. They're coming in late, leaving early. Or perhaps production just doesn't meet standards. So the boss has to jump in there, or the coach needs to do something to address it. This is called the constructive feedback model, also known as DISC. And it's got 5 parts to it. And if we're talking DISC here, it's not to do with colors, it's to do with coaching. So the first one is that we need, the D stands for describe. Describe the situation. What is going on right now? What is the behavior that needs to be corrected? What are the facts as we know it? Then we talk about the impact, the so what. What's the impact on the organization? What's the impact on that group? The yes is to solicit or ask for some suggestions. So we ask the employee to come back and say, okay, what are some ways that you can solve this problem? The C stands for collaborate or consequences. So what we're doing is working with that employee to be able to come up with some solutions to the problem and asking them for the cooperation. So how can I help you make this thing happen? And when we're talking about consequences is, well, if you don't follow through with this, what will be the consequences to it? So what we're going to do is just see what this might look like through the form of a role play. And that's in your handouts. Okay, this is on page 12. I need to have a manager, who's a coach, and an employee. So who would like to be a manager? Okay, just stay there for now. For now, the real exercise is going to come. So, okay, so would one of you like to be the manager? She be the manager. You have been nominated.
All right.
play. Just read through this role play, and as you're reading through it, look to see how the DISC model was used. So start off, manager.
Oh, start reading?
Yes, please.
You have a new employee who has
No.
been,
Okay, this is on page 12.
oh, sorry.
That's okay. There you go, and you're the manager.
Okay.
There you go, good.
At the staff meeting 2 weeks ago, you agreed to lead the office team building committee. You were to provide me with a plan by yesterday. I have not seen anything so far.
Yes, I agreed that I would have it ready yesterday, but I have been extremely busy with the office move plans, and then Sally was on vacation for 2 weeks, and I needed to cover her desk. Plus, Mary was sick. I was finding it difficult to keep up some days.
The staff are looking forward to this event. It will give them a chance to meet new staff members, plus we will have Friday afternoon off. The event was announced and people will be disappointed if we do not follow through.
Sorry about that.
What are some suggestions for a preliminary plan? Sorry.
I will block some time first thing tomorrow morning and have it on your desk by lunch. Will this work?
Absolutely. If there's anything that I can do to help, please let me know. The credibility of our unit is enhanced when we follow through with our commitments.
I think the team building event will be a lot of fun. I was thinking of having an amazing race scavenger hunt, followed by dinner at a secret location.
Okay, so that was an example of the DISC coaching model. What was the D? What was the, like, describe the situation. What was going on? This is for anyone.
The plan wasn't received by the due date.
Okay, so she was supposed to be planning this retreat, but nothing was happening. Okay, the I, what's the impact?
The employees could be disappointed because the
Yeah.
activity doesn't follow through.
Right, right. Employees would be disappointed. The S, what are some solutions?
She'll block out the time.
She's going to block out the time tomorrow. And the C part, how are they going to collaborate and work together?
If she needs anything, then she's there to help.
There you go, yeah. So this is an example of how to use the DISC model for coaching. Now, coaching is a skill. And what do you need to do to develop a skill? You need to practice, yeah. So we're going to have an opportunity to practice using the DISC coaching model. Okay, so the way this is going to work is that you'll be working with a partner. So there'll be 2 groups with 2 individuals and 1 group with 3 individuals. The group with 3 individuals, you'll have an observer. Okay, so let's say we have 1 group here with 3, 2, and 2. Now, in your group, first of all, decide who's going to be the manager or coach and who is going to be the employee who will be coached.
Don't be
The observer.
I will be the employee this summer.
You were just employee, so do you want to be a manager?
Sure.
Okay, so on page 8, you will have a little description of the scenario of the manager or coach. On page 9, we have the employee's role. So you can just read through it and become familiar. If you are an observer, you have a description of what you're going to be looking for, and that's on page 11. Do we have any questions before we move forward with this? Okay. Happy coaching. I'll check back with you in about 7 minutes. Let's begin.
I guess I'll get the magic coach thing
So none of your employees in the unit. So
I just read it
on a
out loud.
coaching session with you.
It's a role play.
So
Which role are you?
and manager.
Okay, so you're playing the role of the manager, and you're there to be using the disc to.
Do I read the text?
I'm not going to read it. What I want you to do is just to
Very
realize
happy
what
working
you're
with
doing.
her month now.
What would you do to
you take a proposal. Okay.
And there's also the disc that you can.
Sure.
Okay.
Positive.
So,
Being able to
I called
do
this
the job.
one because I don't
Make the
even
outcome
here for just
to
almost a
someone
month. And I just keep noticing, that you maybe a little bit tired and that's not bad. Invite you here to share some of your thoughts on your job and maybe some of the things that are, causing you to feel a little bit more tired. Is it the workload? Is it the,
You seem to be
coworkers that
suited
you're
for
working
the
with?
job.
Just,
So
have an opportunity just for you and I just to open up and have a discussion. How do you feel about that?
Great, good, yes, thank you for the opportunity.
Right, I'm not following
I
this.
enjoy the work and it's not too difficult, it's, I know what to do, I've mastered it, so. I guess I would start more with the description.
Now, is that something that if I have more team meetings and discuss where this company is heading and what our goals are, in a few months, is that something that would help keep us motivated in the future?
Yeah, and I think just if you could let me know how I'm doing every now and then. I think I know how I'm doing, but I would love to just hear your feedback.
Sure, absolutely. I just wanted to get to you, make you feel comfortable, getting to know your coworkers and stuff like that, but absolutely. No problem with letting you know, how you're progressing, where maybe some areas that I would like to see a little bit more progress, courses that maybe want to take in the future and stuff like that. So all different opportunities for you to grow with the company and grow personally as well.
This was too positive.
Yeah, very cooperative.
Yeah, she shaped her work with us.
There you go.
Do some additional things or what?
Well, that's good.
Actually, it's asking for the quality, so it says in the beginning,
So the focus is on
efforts because you were positive, smiling, you were inviting, you showed no interest.
Okay. So what kind of job are you doing, Mary? Do you feel
You're nice.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind working for you while I'm
Call me on a good day.
So you ask good questions because you ask what's right now, I wouldn't know what to you describe it more when you ask what's going on, so the question work on like how can I give you a concrete answer. They listen really well because
I appreciate you because you do the job well.
the story
What
and
skills do you feel that you have that aren't being
have a
utilised
good
that
body.
they could?
Exactly.
I think
Do you have more computer skills?
I do, I'm great at
your
graphics.
conversation stay on track. You start talking about something else, you talk about the communication. So you were on track, he says his direction and flow. You asked for the
Yes,
Okay, what kind of graphics skill do you have? So
suggestion.
I'll bring in our graphics designer to fill that.
Explore ways to
What level?
for example, you suggested to have
We can maybe
meetings and
just bring one.
check up
So
with
if
her and do that.
the graphics designer's on vacation for 6 months right now.
Oh.
Okay. Motivation.
Well, I'm going on vacation too, so it's okay.
Alright, so when you summarize our discussion by
And
establishing
that would
the
give you time
plan,
to look around
and
here.
then you
This
exit
is
something
something
for
for
her.
her that can start some different things and help you.
Awesome.
I look forward to our conversation later.
No, yeah, I did report before we started talking. Was
Well done.
really felt
Good job.
like really comfortable and we have a good discussion and that's very like focused on me and the situation
And then
the
jump straight
conversation.
into something.
And not put a blame, like,
Right.
what's going on, what is your problem?
Right.
This has to be done, and you're not doing it.
Yeah.
It's always the worst when you're trying to do it right, so you feel little about the
Right.
situation. Because obviously we both had a part in it, you feel like it's I
Right.
want to give you the feedback that you're creating, and, and I'm not completely in with what's the big vision for you.
Right.
So,
Right.
that part, so planning to make sure that both
I
are
agree.
satisfied.
Wow. And I think it has to start like that, it's like you're put on the defense, and you feel like
It's hard to
like then
not be
you're,
defensive
That
after,
right, and then
behavior
your stress level
is
goes
having
way up.
power.
yeah, and then the meeting pretty much
The
goes.
rest of it,
Yeah.
because then it makes it sound, we don't like to
So how's it going? How do those conversations go?
I like that. Yeah,
very good.
Good, good. Okay, so I want to hear about how it went. First of all, for the employees who are being coached. Who has been coached here? Okay, so how did it go for you?
It went well,
It went well.
cleared the air.
Clear? Yeah.
We figured out what the problem really was.
Okay,
And
excellent, excellent. Okay, how about here? Who is
See,
he?
I was
Okay.
the employee.
Yes.
So my coach was great. She really, went through things with me. She could tell she was very sympathetic in her, or empathetic, sorry, in her tone. And she
Okay.
didn't want her feelings. And she was just real with me and told me what I needed to hear. And that allowed me to open up and be honest about what I was facing.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, how do you feel about the conversation? How did it go for you, Helen?
My manager was excellent. She started off by just making me feel very, very comfortable, and that it was going to be a positive, good discussion, and she was listened, very focused on the issues, and came up with some creative, solutions, and so it was very positive. But I think the key was that she just made, just from the start, she made me feel very comfortable
Yes.
just with the
Yes.
approach.
So the idea is to set the right kind of environment,
Right.
a more friendly, kind of an informal type of environment where you can sit down and talk about the job
Right.
and have that conversation. Now let's go over to the managers. How did it go for you, Richard?
It was fun.
How so?
It's very easy to talk to, very open about the problems that we want to make her feel very important.
Good. Good, thank you. Manager Linda.
Yeah, Mary, we're looking for a different position in the company for Mary because her skills aren't being utilised. So we sorted out what skills she had that weren't being used, and she had some ideas about the company where different things could be changed.
Sure.
So when 2 people come back from vacation, we're going to sit down and resolve the problems and find Mary a different place in the company.
Excellent, excellent. And this team here?
It was really good. I think we developed a trust. She knew that I was here for her, not, picking out the faults and stuff like that. And I told her that, it's really important to know that we're in a team. So it takes 2 people to make things go smoothly. So I wanted to enforce the fact that I'm willing to help her out, do things that will help her improve and progress. So we're just having fun.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, as an observer, what did you see happening in that conversation?
It was a very positive environment
Okay.
because the manager, she was showing a sincere desire to resolve the problem. It wasn't
Okay.
a formal event meeting. It was, she came from a place of support and compassion, and she wanted this to work out
Wonderful.
for company, and she followed all those steps.
Okay, excellent, okay. So thank you so much for participating in this. Now, what's your takeaway from using that example, the disc? What would be your takeaway from it? What did you learn from using the disc?
I would learn to go into a meeting like that with an open mind
Yes.
and find out the facts of the situation before I try to resolve it.
That's really critical, right at the beginning. What are the facts? What do you know? And that might involve doing some research, talking to other people, checking previous email correspondence, and then you speak to the employee, have your information in front of you. Anything else? Jean?
It was great for me because I'm very direct, so I'm not wishy-washy. When I have something to say, I say it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's not well received. Even though I'm great on the coaching side,
Okay.
when it's just an important conversation, I'm just to the point. So it really gave me a structure. I love structure. It gave me structure as far as how I can convey the message with the same type of impact, but less forceful.
Right, okay. What I like about the DISC model is it gives you the structure and the format to follow when you're speaking with an employee. And if you haven't used it before and you're going to be coaching, what I suggest is you take it, have it in front of you, and just jot some ideas down. And when you're having that conversation, you've got a reference tool right in front of you. Make sure that you cover off all the right areas. Okay. So in terms of summary, what we covered off were the roles and responsibilities of coach. What is a coach? We talked about the coaching conversation, and then we looked at 3 different models. The first model is when things are going well, the positive feedback. The second one was on-the-spot coaching. And then the last one we just did was the disc coaching model, when we want to give the employee some constructive feedback. So based on all this, what will you do more of, or less of, or differently? So what is your biggest takeaway from the last hour and a half? What will you do more of? What will you do less of? Or what could you do differently?
Listening is going to be
I'm just going to pass this guy to you. Okay, so what is it you're going to do?
I think listening is critical. You have to
Listening?
know all of the facts before you start trying to make decide on a solution.
Absolutely, so get the facts. Let's give her some appreciation. 1, 2, 3. Awesome, pass it down, or throw it. Heads up, heads up. Oh, he's coming your way. Okay.
I will be more, I will be more prepared when I go into a meeting.
Yes, I think that's really critical. Just, I even sit down and almost draw up my conversation
Yeah.
as to what exactly I'm going to say, plan A, and then there's plan B, and sometimes plan C down the road too. When you're better prepared, you're better able to deal with that situation
Yeah.
and not have to get back to them later on. So,
It's almost like setting an agenda.
yes,
Yes.
you got it,
Yeah.
you got it. Let's
That's
thank her.
great.
Pass it down. Okay.
I'll probably be more empathy, because like I find that just from my experience, a lot of people are focused on too much me, and not about the other person in general. So if you show more empathy towards other people, they'll greatly appreciate it, and they'll be more open to you.
Okay, so showing empathy, great. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Pass it down. Heads up.
Yes. I guess for me, I like the structure of this discussions because I'm salty. I'm kind of feel sorry for everyone.
Okay,
I take too much on myself. So it gives me a little bit more justification to ask for more.
Okay, great. Let's thank her. Pass it down.
I think describing the impact that it has on the team and the whole organization is important. I mean, the employee might not realize the consequence, right, of something that it doesn't seem important in their mind. So I think describing that impact is really important.
Okay, let's thank her.
Uh-oh.
Heads up. Okay.
Just nabbed the end of it.
Lots of mores, lots of less. I think more fact-finding, being more prepared is definitely the way to go on any situation. And I think less is less trying to become the solution yourself and making it more of a collaborative
Yes.
solution rather than trying to solve it all as a manager. You need to do a lot of fact-finding and making it collaborative.
Let's thank her.
That's for you.
Overhand.
Okay. Something that came to me while we were going through this is when we were talking about like praise and feedback, is I'm going to put up kind of a questionnaire that I'm going to do with my clients when they initially come on to work with me to figure out, because some people don't take praise well, like they don't like it, like that's not how they want to receive it.
Okay.
So I think to do the fact finding, but more about the person.
Okay,
That's something that really surfaced for me today.
excellent. Let's thank her. Okay, well, it's been an honor and a privilege working with you. I hope one day our paths may cross again. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Okay, I can turn the cameras off now.
You didn't even know it was there.
Yeah, exactly. That was great.
Thank you so much for coming.
This is
Really for
fantastic.
participating and taking part and answering the questions and playing along in the narrative. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I hope you'll find some use. You'll be able to take it back and use it, yeah.
Yeah, for
It's good.
sure.
Yeah.
I put in my personal development.
Wow. Your learning plan? Oh, sure.
Already.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
That's good.
Marketplace, I attended the training.
Well, sure, yeah.
No, that's
makes sense, yeah. Oh, yeah, they can call me, I can vouch for you.
Oh, that's really good, I'll publish, we can give it to everyone in my office. Oh, my office.
That can be arranged.
Office.
Yeah, this is actually, I do a half-a-day workshop on this. This is the main components of it. But, and I do like a management training program, and coaching is always part of it.
Do you have a cut, please?
Yes, I do, I do.
Yeah, the time really flew by, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Are you on LinkedIn, Linda?
Yes, I am.
You are? Okay. We'll have to hook up.
I took a picture of you while you were doing it. Like, I don't know, like Facebook, I don't do things here as much. But, you know, like, if I wanted to take a picture of you doing anything, do you have one picture?
Oh, LinkedIn? I'm not sure if you can do pictures.
You know what, I don't know if you can put an attachment on LinkedIn.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Are you talking about LinkedIn or?
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I don't think, because I tried that before too, to
I'm
attach
just-
something and I couldn't.
Don't use it.
I mean, I couldn't, so I don't.
Yeah, I think
Where's Brianne? Is that her name, Brianne?
Oh, you know what,
Ashley's here now, right?
she's starting next week or mid-May, yeah.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Got it. This.
We do some coaching together.
Oh, great.
Okay, yeah.
Definitely knows.
Good, awesome. This for me?
Are you on LinkedIn? You are? Okay, good, good. We'll link up.
I've already found you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I found yours. How about you? Are you
Thank you.
listed?
I am, but you know, I haven't done it.
Actually, get her done.
If I do, I'm in trouble. But no, I,
You don't have my card. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. You have such beautiful graphics on there.
Thank you.
Cards are cute.
Okay, that would be great. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Did you get the sheets back?
Maybe we can work something.
Together.
Dominic, do you have a card?
No,
None of your work.
but I'm on LinkedIn though.
I can give you mine even, and then
Yeah.
if you wanna.
Okay. Good.
Perfect.
Well, that's
You've been doing
a
this for a
solid
while.
card.
Yes.
Isn't that a beautiful card? The graphics that she's got, like,
Yeah.
just beautiful, beautiful.
No, I was
You've been
gonna
doing
say
this for a
that
while.
I know a few people who don't like being praised, but the way to word it, I find with them, instead of saying, you did a great job, they'll give something and I'll say, this is sick, like this is really nice.
Yes.
Right, so I'm not telling them, you did a good job.
Yes, yes,
It's what they've done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea,
Yeah.
for sure.
No, that's a good way to do it too.
Headliners, right over here, on Wednesdays at noon.
She is. Did you want to?
Come on down.
Oh, okay.
Because at the conference, the
Next one's
representative
Erica.
said
Just book a
to,
conference.
Yeah, actually,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.